Hello, my name is Bob Lessemun. I'm a former detective superintendent in the West Midlands Police, and I'm making this video to all the people who are thinking about retirement and thinking about, well, what do I do next? I can only relate my own issues, but I'm sure they're the issues that's been shared by a number of people who are coming up to retirement and wondering what they do next. I was a detective chief inspector in the Black Country in Smethwick, and I could be honest, I was enjoying myself. I was enjoying myself being senior investigating officer, hostage negotiator. Um, I had the best jobs and I had the best team to work with, and I was quite happy to do a little bit more service. But I also got the feeling that at 30, it was time to let the reins go and give it to somebody else. And my 30 was coming up, and 30 really enjoyable years. But now it was time to think about next. And had I planned and prepared? No. Did I know what I wanted to do? No. Did I give it any real thought or planning? No. But I did bump into Peter French, my ex-detective superintendent, and he was about to retire, and he was a betting ring inspector for the Jockey Club. And all that meant was you settled bets between the bookie and the punter, visiting various race courses around the country and doing it on a regular basis. And I fancied doing that. I thought that, yeah, that'll do me. But I needed to have 6 weeks to go on a Saturday to be shown the ropes. And I didn't work many Saturdays in those days, probably 1 in 4, and I could have got cover for it. So I put in for the chief constable to allow me to. I wasn't getting money, I wasn't getting paid for it, but just to be on the safe side, to tell him that I was going to be working with the Jockey Club and learning the ropes for my new job. And he said, "No, you cannot." And this isn't like some places where you can go moonlighting. You have to have permission to take on a second job. And this wasn't a real job. I wasn't going to get paid for it. But he said no. I know it was. And that made me miffed. I was angry. I thought, well, here I am. I've done 30 years for them, worked my guts out, and they won't even give me the. I didn't ask them to give me any money. I asked them to just give me permission to learn the ropes for my new job, and they refused. And I got in the office, I slammed the door, and I picked up the police review, and I started reading the police review. I'd never done it at work before. And so as I tipped over the pages, I saw this quarter-page ad, which said, Detective Superintendent required, Head of CID, Turks and Caicos Islands. And there was all these palm trees in the corners of each part of the advert, and I thought, hey, there's a job for you. Detective Superintendent. I get promoted, I get a Detective Superintendent's pension, and I get to work in paradise. What's not to like? And then I thought, reality crept in a little bit, and I thought, Leslie, you got 30 years in. Who's going to promote you at 30 years? It's time for you to go. Nobody's going to give you a superintendent's pension, and you can't really expect them to, can you? And the answer was no, I couldn't. But I liked the thought of it, and I applied. And when I was a detective inspector, I introduced interview development training there, and I'm very pleased to do that, and I'm very pleased that the force acknowledged that. And what I did was, I kept a book of questions for when I went on promotion boards or interviews or whatever, and they were Bob Lessemun's book of questions, and more importantly, Bob Lessemun's book of answers. And I taught people how to say the last word to the interviewer, and then if he hasn't prepared himself properly, he'll pick up on that last word and ask the next question. And that's what I did. And I mean, it got me through. It got me through a Glasgow interview. It got me through a London interview. And I found myself on a plane first class to Barbados. I got briefed by the spooks there. And then from there, I went on to the Turks and Caicos. If I'm truthful, I didn't even know where it was when I applied for the job. And I had to go to the library in Birmingham to find out exactly where it was. And they had a few travel brochures, and that was about it. There was very little about the islands. So there I was, landed at Providenciales, and the first guy I bump into on the plane says, "You be Bob Lessemun." And I'm thinking, how the hell does he know me 4,000 miles from home? So I said, "Could you tell me, sir, how you could possibly know me? Because I haven't got a clue who you are." And he introduced himself as the superintendent in charge of the parks in Grand Turk. And I acknowledged that, and he said, "You know, you must either be a born adventurer or stark raving mad." And I'm in the back of this plane and I'm thinking, well, I'm not a born adventurer. Perhaps I am stark raving mad. I don't know. You be the judge. Because what I did was, I sat down a few months back and I've recalled some of the events that I dealt with in the Turks and Caicos Islands. When I got there and I saw those beautiful turquoise, and I mean turquoise seas, white talcum powder sands, bleached by the sun, the that's as close as I'm ever going to get to paradise. On one occasion, we were whale watching and the whale came out of the water 15, 20 foot in the air, barnacles on its back and these big eyes looking at us. And, you know, you look around and you think, I ain't never going to see this at Smethwick or Birmingham. And really, what you should do, Bob, is just bring it to the attention of other people and show just how lucky you've been to have a chance of doing 2 years policing in paradise. The book is available on Amazon.com. I recommend it to you. And you know, sometimes you got to take a chance. Sometimes life has got to be worth living, and you've just got to say to yourself, travel broadens the mind. I'm going to broaden the mind. It's certainly changed my life. I went from my own little bungalow in Sedgley, in the West Midlands, and I finished up here now in Jensen Beach, Florida, and the sun's still shining, and the sea is still nice and blue, not as turquoise as the Caribbean, but I'm really, really living the dream. And if you want to live the dream, my advice to you is take the opportunities that present themselves to you and think about what you want to do and then do it. Hope you enjoyed.